Alright guys, so I'll be starting in a minute. Let's see if we can get some more people in here. Hope you guys are having a great Saturday. I'm gonna take a look at what's up Bacano 3000. So today I'm gonna take a look at BTC. I'm only gonna take a look at BTC. Maybe if I had to have some time, I'm gonna take a look at a couple of alts. But tonight I want to focus on Bitcoin, and let's just jump right into the charts. Let's see if we can get some more people in here. All right, so let's go. Let's start off by looking at why is not my camera on? All right, there I am. Here I am. That's my beautiful face. Yeah, sorry about that. Very unprofessional, huh? Alright, so let's take a look at Bitstamp first. So Bitstamp is the exchange I'm looking at for the higher time frames, the weekly and the monthly, right? Because we have the most price action basically. So what are we seeing in the monthly? Not much. Well, obviously we're seeing a lot of the monthly, but the monthly isn't really interesting right now. I've already done the monthly analysis. Let's take a look at the weekly. So the interesting part about the weekly here is obviously this 21 EMA, this yellow line. So like closing above the yellow 21 on the weekly. So if we close this weekly candle above the yellow 21 on the weekly, that would obviously be a pretty good sign of strength, right? So what's up, Altos? And if you guys have any questions or any requests about anything, just feel free to ask me anything. Or if you have any altcoin requests you want me to look at, if I have the time, I will take a look at the altcoins at the end of the stream. So I'm gonna try to keep this about 30 minutes. Because when I when I keep going on longer than 30 minutes, my ADD kicks in, and I'm basically becomes my brain gets fried, and everything just becomes boring, and I'm basically slowly becoming a retard. I just forgot what the fuck I'm talking about. All right, so the weekly, yeah. So if we get a weekly close above the 21 EM on the weekly, that would be a clear sign of strength. On a higher time frames, watch up Bitchimoko, I like that name, perfect. So on the higher time frames, we could very likely see a retest of the 21 EMA on the weekly if we close up above, right? So a move down back to the 21 EMA is pretty likely. So I've got this yellow horizontal here marked out as the 21 EMA on the weekly. So let's keep it right here. Let's go into the daily, and actually let's look at the 4-hour first. And we'll see on Bitstamp we have the 21 EMA at around 8,755. It's not going to be the exact same number on Bybit, but I want to show you guys this range I got right here. So if we come down and test the 21 EMA on the weekly on Bybit, that means, and the Bybit chart and the Bitstamp chart they are like pretty similar. Not the same obviously, but similar. So if we, and you can probably draw a similar range on the Bitstamp chart. Actually, let's see if we can do that. So I got my fibs here, I got the EQ dashed. So I think I used this high up here. Yeah, I can't remember. To the low down here, right? Or let's take a look. Alright, so I used that one and that one. And that's gonna be this one and this one. So let's see if we get a similar range on Bitstamp and Bybit. And it kind of looks like we are. They're looking quite similar, right? Yeah. All right, so let's take a look at Bitstamp then. So we have the 21 EM on the weekly here at range EQ. Where do we have the 200 simple? Right here. So the 200 simple have now crossed below the range EQ, but notice that the range EQ is right in the middle of the 21 EM on the weekly and the 200 simple. Not sure if that matters, but interesting nonetheless. So I think still the range EQ is interesting because it's right in the middle of those two very important moving averages, right? So a move back down to test the 21 EMA on the weekly would mean we actually test the range EQ, right? And a possible retest of the 200 simple on a daily. Now, what's interesting here is when looking to long a retest, if you're gonna long the first retest blindly, you want to long a rounded retest, a clean rounded retest without any touches in between. So this is a clean rounded retest of range high. This would also be a a clean rounded retest of the 21 EM on the weekly, the 200 simple on the daily, and the range EQ. So let's see if we'll get a rounded retest on the daily for the 200 simple. It kind of looks like we might actually get that. Let's say that this daily candle closes here and the next one will come down and trade here. We do have a rounded retest on the daily, which is pretty nice. So we haven't really had the first rounded retest of the 200 simple on the daily until now, after actually breaking above it. So when I'm trading the first retest, I first want to look for a confirmed bounce, and I'm talking strictly the daily time frame here. So when I'm looking for to long a retest after a breakout, I'm first looking for a daily open and close as confirmation of the breakout. Here we have a daily open and close. I'd much rather have a daily open and close without any wicks touching the resistance, or in this case the 200 SMA. Like you see here, we actually do have a wick touching here, so it's not really a perfect confirmed breakout. This candle, on the other hand, is a daily open and close above without any touches down here, right? So this is the confirmed breakout for me, and this is going to be the first retest. So I'm not saying that I will long the first retest blindly. I'm going to show you an example of how I would trade longing the range EQ, the range high here. I do realize that it's a lot of information at one time, and if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. So looking at this area here is this is range high, right? And this white horizontal I got here is just to mark out these open and closes, and this level here, it's just, I think it looks very nice. I like the fact that when we actually broke above this area, that's when we got this move. So I do actually I think I should put more weight on this horizontal than this range high. So actually, let's see if we can lower range high down to this area and see if it actually makes sense with range EQ. You know what, I would actually want to have range high at that area, but I'm gonna watch this one. So this is the first retest of previous range high after a breakout. So by my definition and my trading rules, that would have been a good buy, right? Just quickly, I'm going to show you another example on XMR BTC. that kind of fits this criteria well too. Here you have the weekly chart on XMR. Let's put on the RLC here just for good measures. Let's see, where do we have it? Here, the low to the high. All right, so what do you know? It lines up with the RLC. Surprise, right? So this is a rounded retest without any touches in between. So this is the first retest after the breakout, and we also have the RLC down here. So I'm not really sure what would be like a good way to trade this. I mean, there's so many conflicting ways. I'm gonna take a look at XMR right after this BTC analysis, but I always wanted to show you how, like, another example of a good rounded retest without any touches in between, like the first retest after a clean breakout. Let's go back to the BTC chart. This is not the one. Or is it? Where the fuck did it go? No, this is the one. This is on the weekly, right? So here it is. I'm gonna drill down into the 5-minute chart to, like, if I want to long previous range high here, I'm obviously not gonna long right here, because here we have this horizontal that I just showed you right below range high. What I would like to see here is a break in market structure, a bullish break in market structure before I actually enter anything. And it should be pretty obvious to anyone watching that you don't want to like buy weakness. You want to buy strength and you want to sell weakness. Right now, Bitcoin is not looking, on the lower time frames, it's not looking super healthy, right? I mean, if you look at the weekly, it's looking all right. I mean, you bounce down here, and if we close the weekly above the 21 EMA on the weekly and the 200 simple on daily, that's looking, I mean, it's looking quite good, right? But on the lower time frames, it's a whole nother story. So before I'm gonna get interested in buying this, I want to see a bullish break in market structure. And what does a bullish break in market structure mean? It means basically creating, instead of seeing lower lows, and well, I guess you could say this area is a high and maybe a high and a high and a low. So instead of seeing like lower highs and lower lows, I want to see higher lows and higher highs. So this right here is a, let's just say that this is a high, right? So that's a high, low, I guess a high, low, high, low. Now that area right there is a higher low, and we're also seeing a potential W pattern here forming. So this white horizontal here is a very interesting area, right? Because if we start creating, like we see here, a higher low, right? And maybe a higher high, and then starts trading upwards to create even another higher low and a higher high. That would mean we have a confirmed bullish break in market structure. And then that's when I would like to try a long on BTC. Just a quick trade up towards this breakdown area. So where would I have my stop loss? So actually I haven't really planned this trade very much. I'm just doing it right now to show you guys quickly what to look for. So obviously, like the first area of interest is going to be this, the low of this candle, right? The second area of interest for a potential stop loss is going, well, it depends on where I'm actually entering, right? But let's look at the 5 minutes again. So let's say I'm entering here, right? It's gonna be So where does this horizontal take us? The one down here. So why do I have that one marked out? I'm not really sure. It's the high of this wick here. I'm not really sure about that area. I'm gonna remove that one. I don't like it. That's a good area. Right, so this stop loss kind of makes sense below this wick here. And that low is, the low of that candle is 88.62. So let's move that one to 88.62. Actually, let's move it to 88.59. And the potential first take profit would be in this region, right? The high of the low of these two. Let's look at the 15 minutes, how this price action looks right here. All right, so we need to mark out these lows too. Yeah, this kind of makes sense. You know what? I have to take a closer look at this setup after the stream. So the idea tonight was just to like give you guys a quick overview of my overview of Bitcoin basically. And on the weekly, chart, I'm seeing I mean, as long as we stay above the 21 EMA on the weekly, I'd say this is pretty bullish. But as you can see, I have this green box here marked out. Let's go into the daily here. So I got this green box marked out here. That's like, I remember saying that because of the upper part of this green box being confluent with the upper part of basically range high of previous range, when we were going to see a breakout of this range, we were most probably going to test 9,200, which at that time was confluent with the 21 EMA on the daily. We did get that bounce, that breakout. We did test, and well, the high of this candle is actually 9,219. So that idea worked out perfectly. We touched 9.2k, and we then got rejected. And I remember telling you guys, I was actually in the short here. I was shorting the first retest of the 200 simple on daily. So I was actually in a short. My stop was just above this area right here. I got stopped out, and I told you guys that if we break out, I'm gonna long a breakout and target 9.2k. We got that touch of 9.2k perfectly. We then got rejected, and I told you guys I was looking to long the first, like after we get rejected up here, was looking to long the first retest of range high, which we got perfectly. Now that I'm actually watching the price action, I've got the time to actually monitor price on the lower time frames. I want to see this kind of structure that I was showing you guys just now. I need, before I actually long this move, I need to see a confirmed break in market structure. So it's not about just shorting or longing the first retest. If you have the time and the patience to actually watch price action in the lower time frames, you want to see a break in market structure first before you enter the position. It's also a good way to like keep your patience. And so I remember there was something else I wanted to talk about, but I can't remember what it was. All right, so yeah, I wanted to take a look at how price action looked up here at the 21 EMA and the daily when we actually broke down. So obviously looking at let's look at the 15 minutes. 30-minute. Yeah, so what I'm seeing here is obviously we had a, like, you see this red box here, this is more like the higher time frames resistance. If you zoom in here, you will see that you have a pretty obvious level right here around this area, which is pretty much the low area of this red box resistance, right? But here we have a resistance on the lower time frames. How does it look in a daily? It looks good. So on the lower time frames, we have this resistance right here. We had a pretty obvious fake out right here. And right after that fake out, we broke down. And the 21 EMA was right up here. So, like, obviously this type of price action right here, you can't really apply what I showed you guys down here, right? Because if we, like, it's hard because, like, the setup ain't really there. You want to see like a confirmed break in market structure, and right now I would say that price action is looking rather like on the lower time frames, even the hourly. Well, I guess you could, like, I'm seeing a triangle here or wedge or whatever, so if you're trading patterns, you're probably seeing that too, but I'm watching these higher lows. So if you were looking to, actually we did start to get, this is looking interesting. So I guess you could have shorted here with this hourly close here. That's a pretty clear indication of a, well, it's not really clear obviously, but it's a first sign of a break in the market structure, right? When you have a higher low and higher low, higher low, and I would say this swing area is also higher low. When we broke down here, this is pretty clear show of weakness, right? And like this one isn't really this area here isn't really a very clear sign of weakness because it's still a higher low, right? But this one right here, if you count this area, it's actually a lower low. So as soon as this candle closed here, it could have entered a short, right? With, well, then, you know, the stop loss area would probably be, I mean, you would like to have a, you wouldn't want to have your stop loss area like right up here. So like the risk to reward isn't really here. So that's why I didn't short this area. I would much rather like short a, like this type of formation. Let's say we break up here, we bounce here, test this area again, and then break down. I would much rather like try to short this breakdown or maybe short a retest of that breakout area. That's the type of setups I'm looking at. So this is not really my cup of tea, if you will. Now look at this, for example. Here we're seeing a W pattern with a breakout. So what I would look to do here is longing this area for a retest, but we never came down and tested that area. But if we did, I would like to long it, right? But we never came down to test that area. So what I'm watching for right now, I'm looking at this range high here, right? But it feels like I'm just repeating myself over and over now, and I think you guys have a pretty clear, well, we obviously you don't have a clear view of the higher time frames because I haven't really looked at that one. Let's look at CME here. So CME has closed yesterday, obviously because it's the weekly close, right? So where did weekly close on CME? It did close at 9165, 9165, 9165. All right. So let's see if we can find the range on the CME chart here. So the range is looking very different on CMEs. Right, so we got this high, this high, this high, low here. All right, so we got that high and this low. We got that wick. I remember using that wick, which shouldn't really be. So I like that area, obviously. We got clean test there, and so on CME, I would look at something like this, right? Yeah, that makes sense. So we closed the weekly above. We closed the weekly above range. Spot BTC has now dumped. So the CME closed right there. Yeah, so the weekly close on CMEs I like. It's looking rather bullish. We broke out of range and closed above range. So this is the kind of price action I like seeing on CMEs. And if, like, when CME closes bullishly, but Bitcoin right after the CME closes starts dumping, I don't really trust this kind of weekend action. That's why I'm looking looking for a long. Obviously, a scalpy long, but I'm still looking for a long because I don't trust Bitcoin price action on the weekend, and especially when they're not really, like, the CME is looking like the weekly CME close is obviously much more bullish than this. So I'm looking for spot BTCs to follow like the CME weekly close, if that makes sense. So I'm not really, like, when you see a bullish move from Bitcoin on the weekend, you most likely won't see a follow through. I'm gonna take a look at. Wait a minute. All right. So when you see a bullish market structure, a bullish like a pump from Bitcoin on the weekend, I'm not really sure, and I'm not really confident in it. I'm not confident in that price action will follow through in the coming days or like after the weekend. God, yeah, you probably understand what I'm saying. I should buy an English dictionary. You know, like I want to show you something else. CME on a daily, we are trading below the 200 simple on a daily. On Bitstamp, we are trading above the 200 simple on the daily. Let's remove everything else and look at just the 200. All right, so there we go. This is the CME, and so for CME we had a very nice reaction here, right? Very clean bounce of the 200 simple, right? But that's like this one, and like that one and this one is the only touches of the 200 simple that I think makes sense, right? So we have two, like it being used as support perfectly here and like resistance here, but that's pretty much the only type of price action I think makes sense for a move off the 200 simple, right? But if you look at Bitstamp here, if you take a look at Bitstamp, I think we have much clearer price action around the 200 simple. So first of all, we have much more price data to look at, obviously. So I like how clean this test was up here. And I like how price action almost touched the 200 simple here. Very close here, right? And the move that broke the 200 simple was the move that took us to the high of this previous bull market to 14k, right? We're then seeing a lot of very interesting price action right here, being used as resistance, move, broke above. This was the China pump, right? Being used as support here, broke down, which started a very heavy downtrend, right? And we then tested it as resistance here, and we now broke above again. So I think I get this question a lot, like if I look at the 200 simple on like what exchange am I going to look at, like, and I think from this explanation that I just gave you, I think it makes more sense to go after 200 simple on spot BTC compared to CME, but that might change in the future because obviously the CME futures don't have enough. Oh, man, it actually did open here. That's pretty crazy. I mean, imagine shorting this one. Never mind. Yeah, so I'm liking the 200 simple on spot, but like I said, this could change in the future because we have what we're seeing right now is a very clear reaction of the 200 simple. A very clear reaction. So interesting to look at, but I like the fact that if you look at Bitstamp here, we broke above the 200 simple and we are now about to come down and test it for the first time after a confirmed break above and a rounded retest. So that would obviously be a interesting area for long, considering how powerful those moves have been in the going back. So now, okay, so I feel like I'm done with BTC. Let's take a quick look at, actually, I want to take a look at, one of my private students had a question about ETH BTC, Ethereum versus BTC, so I'm going to take a look at that one for him. All right, so let's see, 0.0.2278. So he was asking me if 0.0.2278 was a good resistance and 0.0.278, and it's obviously a very good resistance because I got this red box resistance marked out here. So yeah, and it's right in the middle. So I'm definitely sharing his analysis on this one. Let's see, I want to see if it's actually in the live right now. I have to share the chart, and in the meantime I'm gonna take a look at XMR BTC. I'm gonna get back to Ethereum as soon as he gets here. All right, so and like I said, if you guys have any chart requests or anything like that, just drop me a comment and I will take a look at whatever you want. So XMR BTC. All right, so I'm really liking this, right? We have the midpoint of the RLC right here. So I would not be surprised to see this kind of move, right? A move down into the RLC, and what I would like to see is a bullish break in market structure down into, yeah, let's take a look at H bar, A bar, H bar, I think it's a H bar, right after this one. So I would like to see a move down into the RLC. I would then zoom in to see a like a bullish break in market structure inside the RLC. Right now, I'm very tempted in longing XMR right here because it's at such a clean support and resistance area. I really like this area. This is resistance, obviously. So I'm very tempted in taking a long down here, but the fact that we have the RLC right below, I'm not really sure, right? I would like first to see a bullish market structure, something like this. A W inside the RLC would be perfect, then a breakout and longer retest for higher prices. That's like that's the most perfect setup, I guess. Let's look at the daily, because Bitcoin just dumped and we had this dump on XMR. It's still inside this support zone and we have the 200 simple right here. So it's the first retest of this support. It's the first retest of the 200 simple. And actually we had a lot of retest here, but what I'm saying is like this is the first retest after a rounded retest, a clean rounded retest. And the 200 simple is actually confluent with, like, the 200 simple is closer due to the midpoint of the RLC than the support areas. So I would love to get an entry down here inside this area. Now I'm not sure about the how the setup would look, but I'm definitely keeping an eye on XMR, and I would probably set some alerts. Let's see. I'm gonna set some alerts on alerts. At 676, and also I'm gonna look at where do I want to get an alert if it moves down. Right, so I want to look at well, the 200 simple. So I want to get an alert if we come down below these ones. All right, so 72. So that's the alerts on XMR BTC. I'm not going to take a look at this chart unless I get an alert, right? So H bar. So this is probably going to be the last one. Wow, this is crazy. Holy shit. This is insane. Let's see where the RLC is. This is incredible. Like, look at this. So, well, I'm a bit pissed that I missed this one because we had a, like, we dropped down into the RLC here and we bounced off the RLC and we started creating like a bullish break in market structure. It's pretty clear here, right? We have a high and we have, you know, start creating lower highs here, lower lows, and we then created a higher high and a higher low. That's your break in market structure. You could also trade it this way, right? You had the move down into the RLC and you bounced off the RLC right here. So you had your move down into the RLC and you then moved back up outside of the RLC. What I would like to do is you could have long this area, the upper part of the RLC. So first you move down into the RLC, then you move up, and then you retest the breakout area, which is this one, and it's also confluent with upper part of the RLC. So that would have been a great setup, and like you could have just trailed your stop on this one. Probably you could have used like the Williams fractal and just trail your stop, right? So like with every new Williams fractal on the 4 hour, you could have just placed your stop here, then here, like here, and here, and then here. It would have been the latest one. So to this stop up here would have been a 50% move. So very powerful. Very nice. Very nice. Let's take a look at the most recent price action. Alright, so we have, let's take a look at the daily first. I mean, this move is so powerful that it's pretty, like, it's hard. Like, I want to find the RLC of this one. First of all, I want to find the RLC. Do we have the 21 EMA? Yeah, so, and also look at this. I mean, the 21 EMA was also confluent with RLC, which is a very good confluence. The daily, we have the, so we actually have the daily 21 EMA being confluent with the RLC of this up move right here. So I'm liking that. I'm gonna mark that one out. 21 EMA on the daily. It's perfect, right? So I do think it's very likely that if we break this area here, let's see, where should I put that one? Probably right there. So if we break, let's say, this area to the downside, it's a pretty big area. I'd say 10%, no, 5%, so it's good. If we break this area right here, we will most likely, I think, break down and come down and test the RLC, just like we did here, right? We had a powerful move, broke down here, came down, tested the RLC. That's what I'm looking for. Test the RLC, confluent to 21 EM on the daily. For like if you're looking for upside here, I would probably like long this area, stop below either this wick or this area. Probably a stop below that one because it's also the Williams fractal on the 4 hour. So stop should be below this wick, right? Or these ones, like depending on where, let's say you enter here, so that would be a pretty good place. Like it's almost 2R up to the highs here, so that's pretty good, right? And let's say we rally up to all-time high, that would be a 30% move, very likely, I would say, but it kind of looks like history is repeating itself here. We have a very powerful move here. We start consolidating here. We broke down. Powerful move here. Well, actually, it's a powerful move here. Looks similar. And we, like, if we break down, test this area. If we're not gonna break down, I think this is the setup to look at. So that's H-bar. Hopefully it makes sense. Let's look at the weekly and monthly opens. All right, so we have the daily open right here. That could also be a area to play off, right? Where's the daily open? I don't have the daily open, weird. So that could be a area to play off too. Let's zoom into the 5 minutes chart. So we are right now trying to get above the daily open. You could also use, I mean, we had a rounded retest here. You could also use the daily open here too. Like wait for a move like this, right? But I'm not really seeing the risk to reward ratio here, so I think it's just better to Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but that's my analysis. I'm not sure on H bar, to be honest, but probably ignore this last part here. But the first one, like, I'm liking the first idea more. So what do I think of Tomo? Well, let's see. From a fundamental aspect, like fundamental perspective on Tomo, I'm not really seeing anything because I don't really care about the fundamental aspects. So if you're asking me about any fundamental things, I don't really care for the fundamentals, to be honest. I'm only gonna look at the technicals. So let's take a look. Here's a clean chart of Tomo. So what do I do first? I look at the weekly. Sorry, got interrupted by a question in chat. All right, so I look at the weekly. What am I seeing in the weekly? Well, like, this is probably a retest of the RLC. Yeah, so it would make sense to see a retest of the RLC confluent to the 21 EMA on the weekly. Because we get that all the time. All right. Let's see. I need some water. I don't have any water here. Do I have any water? Let's see. Nope, no water. Alright, so what do you know? Well, it's not really a clean retest of the RLC, but it's nonetheless a move back. Like, I had a crazy move, right? This crazy move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So in 7 weeks, we had a almost 300% move from Tomo, and in 1 week, like, this is 1 week candle, it's almost 200%. That's crazy. So like, this type of move here will usually retrace, and it will most likely retrace back down to the breakout area. And where's the breakout area? Well, the breakout area is right here, and as you can see, it's confluent with the midpoint of the RLC. So I'm liking this one. Now we have a bounce of the RLC and also a bounce of the 21 EMA on the weekly. So what I'm looking for now is a break of the 0.618, pretty much the upper part of the RLC. So this area right here is obviously a pretty clear resistance area, right? So I'm gonna use, there's a couple of areas I'm watching here. I'm liking this area. And I'm also liking this area, right? So these, now is this resistance, or I would like to have this area here, the 0.618, as part of my resistance area, because it's obviously a very important, like, you had a fake out here, you got rejected here, you had this fake out, so it's obviously a very important area for price. And you had, like, it's an important area. So I would like to have that area in my resistance, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna, like, if it's gonna look like this or if it's going to look like this. How big is this? Well, yeah, so this is good. Like, when looking at coins like this, when you have this type of price action, like, I need to use a wide resistance. Alts can move very aggressively, so I need to have a fairly big resistance. So the 0.5 Fibonacci level comes in right up here, so that's gonna be like this area. I'm probably gonna use that one. So that's a good area for a potential take profit, but it's just like 8%. So so what do we need to see from Tomo to enter a setup? Well, first of all, we need to break this resistance to the upside. Like you could long a retest of this area, but it's already been tested. Like we already had a rounded retest. It's already been tested. So buying again would be like buying a third retest, maybe even a fourth retest, and that's on a daily, right? So yeah. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. So yeah, the fourth retest on the daily is pretty much not a good long. You don't want to long the fourth retest on the daily. What you want to long is maybe the second, like the first or second. So all right, so I'm just rambling now. Let's just get to the to the point. I want to see a break above this area. I want to see a confirmed break, and with a confirmed break I mean either a daily close above or a daily open and close above this red box resistance. Let's see, how would the setup look like? Something like this, right? Let's see if we can actually get a 2R. Like it looks like we might actually get a 2R setup with that one as our first profit area. So what I'm trying to do is like the first take profit, it has to be like close to 2R. So let's see, where do we have, like the Williams fractal is probably down here, right? Oh wow, we have a, oh wow. Let's look at the 212 daily. Yeah, that's actually the daily. There's 1R up here. Yeah, so that's not really a good setup, right? But if you want to risk, like if you're okay with taking your first part of profits after only 1.5 R, I guess this could be a reasonable trade with a stop somewhere in this area, right? You could obviously have a closer stop, but you would run a pretty high risk of getting stopped out. But if we'll see like this type of action, right? Dump and then continuation, something like that. This one is probably gonna run pretty high, and I think this would be a good area to enter. So I would then look at like this area for a first take profit, and that would be a 2R. So I'm just gonna use, like, if you're looking for trade, just use the Fibonacci levels for take profits. Like, try to find horizontal support and resistance areas that are confluent with Fibonacci levels, and then that's probably going to be a pretty good take profit area. So I would probably exit, like, let's say 15% here, or maybe I don't know, man. I'm not going to go into detail on how much to exit or anything like that, because that's just very personal, and like it's all about what type of trading style and like trading personality you have or whatever, and your system. But yeah, I already talked about BTC. Sorry, Patrick Tyson. This one is going to get uploaded later today, so if you want to watch my BTC analysis, you can watch a replay. I think I'm done. If you guys don't want me to look at anything else, I'm and by the way, it's the quality of the Like, is the quality good? Because I got it on low latency to be able to like interact with you guys quicker. So, but apparently the quality of the video is gonna be worse when I'm on low latency. But I don't think it's been any problem. So I'm just gonna hold off a couple of seconds to see if you guys want me to short anything else, and unless you don't want me to short anything else, I think we're all good. So yeah. Yeah, it's getting late and my girlfriend is waiting for me, so I should probably end the stream. I don't want to end it, but you guys, you know, family first, right? Family's important. But trading is way more fucking important, right? No, it's not. Sorry. All right, so see you guys. Take care, and see you guys next time. Have a great weekend, and don't freak out on these moves from Bitcoin on the weekend. Like, keep your stops in order. Don't freak out. Don't enter any FOMO longs or any FOMO shorts on these kind of moves, because you're like, when Bitcoin moves on the weekend, like, there's no way you can trust its price action, because it's very unlikely that the price action on the weekend is gonna get followed through on the next, like, going into the next week, right? So just keep calm and look at the higher time frames. Like, this move right here is on the higher time frames, it's nothing, right? It's just nothing. So we're still, I mean, we still got this area right here. We're still pretty bullish. It's all looking good, right? So, but if you look at the 4 hour, that's, I mean, it's nothing. It's right back at it's right back at previous range highs. So this is like nothing, right? Just keep calm, relax, keep your stop loss in order, and everything should be all right. So take care, guys, and see you next time.